And I'm going to introduce my favorite man of steel, Mr. David Hauser. He's my favorite superhero, and he's in the business of helping other people become superheroes to the people who love them. So I'm really looking forward to see what Dave's got for us tonight. Remember, if you're in gallery view and you want to see Dave more up close and personal, hit speaker view in your little grid up in the upper right if you're on a computer. Not sure how to do it if you're on your phone. I don't do that too often. And you need to share the screen or anything, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead and you should be able to do that. Let's see.
So first, before, as Paul's getting that set up, I just want to tell everybody that I hands down have the greatest business opportunity every day in the world, hands down. It's not even close. And I'm sorry, but whatever you do, it doesn't compare to the enjoyment I get out of what I do. And I know it's independent for everybody's thinking. But think about this. Everybody has the same 3 dimensions to their money. What 2? Let me know if you can't see my screen.
We got you.
Which 2 aren't you focused on? Right? So you watch all the TV commercials and they talk about you need $10 million in your account. You need this amount of money. Da, 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 da. You need to accumulate. So this young man, he's quite the daredevil. He's on his tricycle with one wheel because he's in the accumulation phase. Right? This is the phase we all work for. We're working our money, we're putting the money away, we're saving it, we're investing it, we're doing all these other things. What happens when you decide to leave work? What's your distribution plan? That's phase 2. And the third phase is your preservation phase, right? How are you going to preserve your money, preserve your assets, and then when ultimately you die, how do you pass it off to people, whether that's a family member, it could be your church or a synagogue, it could be a charity, it could be a trust for a loved one that needs special needs, and you need to plan for their future long term. I love this. I just love that picture so much. It makes me laugh. So next picture is, what is that thing? Somebody shout it out. What is that thing? Don't be shy. It's an ATM.
It's a money dispenser.
ATM is everywhere.
Could you imagine that? Now listen to here. This thing, could you imagine having one of these things in the basement of your house or in your garage or stuffed away in a closet somewhere? And anytime you decided, hey, I need a couple $100, I'm gonna go and print that stuff off. How much care would you put into taking care of that machine? Would you meticulously clean it, fix the parts, make sure there's cash in there all the time? You're damn right you would. Everybody would take care of that machine. That machine is printing money. That machine is you. You have the ability as a human to create the amount of income that you choose or you desire. You are your ATM. So how much protection are you putting in place as you accumulate assets and accumulate savings over time? Your greatest asset is ultimately you. So when I sit down and talk with clients, I basically do 3 areas of work. One is product specific stuff. So that would be life insurance and only, disability, long-term care, some type of annuity. I have other team members that help me out with some other offset, which would be asset management. And that's just a review. You review what you have in place, make some recommendations. I don't really get involved with that. The third part is the financial planning, sort of like Jerry does, except I focus on 6 areas here. And that is the preservation, the protection side of things, your savings, the growth of your money, the tax efficiency of your money, your estate planning, and legacy planning. And we went over the legacy planning before. So when we first meet with clients, that meeting is going to just basically be, hey, I have questions for you. You have questions for me, right? Just getting to know each other. And you're going to paint me a picture about what your ideal life would look like if money was never an issue for you. I don't care. I mean, this is fantasy land if that's what it needs to be. But if money was never an issue for you, what would you be doing right now all day long? And that when we come out of that meeting, I'm going to identify gaps between what you have in place and what you would like to have happen over the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, for as long as you and I are working together. And there's obstacles that we're obviously going to come across, right? Some of those obstacles are going to be, we live in an age where we have more information in a week than somebody in the 1900 had in a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable how much information. So who the hell are you to believe what information is true, what's not true? Who am I to trust?
Mhm.
Right? 2, you followed all the rules that you've been told to do. I save money, I pay my taxes, I do this, I do that, but I can't ever get ahead of things. And that causes an emotional conversation. Ultimately, when you're talking to me, we're going to talk about death. That's uncomfortable for a lot of people. I love it because it's a very freeing conversation. And I know that sounds weird, but as long as you're plan, Paul, you and I talk about this quite a bit. If you plan with the end in mind and you count and you come backwards, you develop this laser focus about how you want to develop your life and how you want to live your life. And then a +1 to this would be a junk drawer. How many people have a junk drawer in their kitchen that has batteries, screwdrivers, scraps of paper from 10 years ago, and all this other crap? Right? We all have those things.
Mine's by the front door, but I got one.
Yeah. I pulled 10 phone chargers out of mine, and 5 of them weren't even used. We couldn't even use them anymore. The point is, we all make financial decisions at certain points of our lives where they're holding us back from moving forward because it's creating inefficiencies at this point. So what we do is, this is the model that I use, right? There's 27 boxes in this on here. This is where all your money can go, plus debt. Is that too small?
For my old eyes,
Yeah.
Right?
that's a little better.
Blow it up, huh? So you have the protection. The protection's purple. You have your savings right here. And then you have your growth. And then your debt. My primary areas of interest are eliminating your debt, making sure your protections are in place. And the reason I say that is, if you have all your protections in place, using a sports analogy, a great defense is going to make sure that you're going to be winning more championships, because it's going to give you freedom to do more with your money and take offensive chances down the road, because you know you have a defense that's going to back you up.
Mhm.
Right? So when we plan, we look at this, the clients go through this model, we start figuring out where they're losing control of their money, redirect it, put it into a more efficient use for them to get everything moving in the right direction. Sometimes, hopefully, we're going to create 2 or 3 options for each dollar they have in this model. We're going to execute that plan, and then we review it 2 or 3 times a year with them, or any other time there's an event that changes in their lifetime. Right? And that's gonna happen to everybody. You can have the best 20-year plan in the world, but you can't plan for 20 years. So we always tell our clients we plan for one year 20 times, over and over and over again.
Hmm.
So we have 3 objectives here. The first one is, we're going to protect the innocent in case something happens to you prematurely. So any debts you have outstanding, any loans you have outstanding, any assets you've already dug into, we're going to make sure the life insurance replenishes and backfills all those losses, right? So Secondly, we're going to provide an income in your retirement that you can't outlive. There's 4 ways you can have, there's 4 reliable streams of income. There's 2 you buy, 2 you earn. That's Social Security and pension are the ones you earn. Some form of an annuity and the living benefits of a life insurance are the 2 you buy. And then the third thing we do is preserve your assets. For that time, everybody's going to work until or live till we have a long-term care event. Everybody will. It may just, some of us may be longer than others, but eventually we're all going to need assistance. So we want to make sure that our assets are preserved and protected under the law so that you don't have to give up and pay down all your assets, because that's bullcrap, giving it more money to the government than they need. Put those protections in place, keep tax efficiencies rolling for you. And then my plus one here is legacy planning. Like I've touched on before, this is a huge part of what I love to do. Planning for your family. If something happens to you early, are your kids still going to be able to go to college? Is your wife still going to, or your spouse still going to be able to travel all over the world like you talked about with them? Is life going to go on? Are they going to be okay? That's the first question people are going to ask. Am I going to be okay? And my answer is, I'm going to deliver a promise to you every time with one of my clients. My promise is to deliver care when those people need it most. And for right now, just a little ask. I am targeting young professionals, and that means 2 to 4 year professionals. That could be lawyer, CPAs, teachers. Teachers are a great prospect right now because I've really narrowed down on student debt elimination and how to focus that and how to put that into this model and get more money working for them so they can enjoy more of their life, start growing more money, start saving more money, and get the hell out of more life than you can ever imagine having. So that's my presentation for today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Super Dave.
Hope I didn't go over too long.
Nope, you were perfect. We've got a few minutes left for Q&A. If anybody wants to hit Dave up with some questions.
Sorry, I talk real fast when I get excited too, so I apologize.
I do the same thing, man. So how did you get started in the financial industry? What brought you there?
I was going through my own policy, my first policy when I bought a house, and a guy that I worked with, and when I was coaching, suddenly didn't show up for work one day, and turned out that he had a tumor behind his eye and he had passed away, and he left behind a brand new son and a wife. And the only thing, as I'm going through these courses and I'm going through all this education myself, the first thing that I asked myself was, what the hell's going to happen to this kid? Because the employee benefits was going to be maybe $100,000 death benefit for the life insurance. And that's not even going to last a year. They're going to have to move in. They had to move in with the parents. What's that do to the parents' retirement account? You know, there's all these other factors. So the more I dug into it, the more I love it, because nobody ever told me about it. And my question to myself was, if I didn't know about it, and I thought I was pretty smart with money. I made some good investments, and it turns out I didn't know shit because I never had the backside protection. And for me, being a defensive-minded person anyway, this model makes sense to me. Defense first, so you can take chances and enjoy the hell out of your life later, but not put it off. You know,
Right.
I'm deferring for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
No,
Dave,
thanks, man. Great presentation, and definitely your passion for what you do comes through.
Fire away, buddy.
Dave, we're going.